So hi again. Thank you for meeting here. And I'm from the Backstage TV and TV Rebel, both from the Czech Republic. And you're gonna play in Brutal Assault here in the Czech Republic soon. In August, I guess.
We're very excited about it too.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. So that's why we should just discuss your past and your current situation in the band and your new EP and stuff like that. So first, I would like to go a little bit back. So what inspired you to start doing music? What was the first inspiration or first push?
I think the push for me was just being around the whole early thrash metal scene with Metallica and Slayer and Megadeth and Suicidal and those bands, and kind of being immersed in it. And then I worked with Phil and Dean at the time, and so when Dean told me Jerry left the band, so I was like, well, I'll try that, So I went over and talked to Phil and gave it a shot, and didn't make the first tryout, but because Jerry came back, and then Jerry left. So when he left again, that's when Phil called me. We talked about it, and I got into it. But I would say the inspiration just came from hanging out in that scene and wanting to participate.
And so, why metal? Why thrash metal? What was the thing that made you feel like, wow, this is the style I'm gonna do?
The first, because I've always been into, I like a lot of different kind of music, but I've always been into Judas Priest, and I think I was like 17 when I was on the rail. Rob Halford was singing Hell Bent for Leather in front of me at the Oakland Auditorium during the British tour or something. And just that whole vibe, I like the energy, And then thrash metal kind of comes as I evolve, enjoying the different kinds of metal that are coming out, and then you hear Kill 'Em All, and it's just like, oh, this is the shit, But before that, Venom and my first thrash metal show was to see Slayer at the Keystone Berkeley.
Wow!
I think it was the first time they had come up here to Northern California. But once seeing that and feeling that energy in the room and all that, I was hooked, and like I said, just being around the scene. Because I helped out Exodus during Bonded by Blood, carrying cabinets and doing whatever I could to, hang out with the bands. And so then, that inspired me to get going. But metal has always kind of been in my blood, And I consider like Led Zeppelin metal in a way. And to me, metal is like, it doesn't have to be heavy grinding chords. I mean, it's like, it's kind of rebellious metal. So music that's not in the norm, I'm kind of driven towards.
And do you think it still is? So how the not only the audience but the whole scene, how it changed? Because you've seen that from the 80s till now, let's say. So what's the main difference? Because you have the digital, downloading and streaming platforms and stuff like that. So what do you think about these changes?
I think today metal is a lot more popularized. Because when I write lyrics and stuff, and when I wrote Eternal Nightmare with Phil and Oppressing the Masses, and with Phil and Rob, and it was always about attitude. It wasn't like trying to sound acceptable. It was more about, fuck you, I'm not acceptable, and I probably won't ever be. I'll be a grumpy old man when I get older. But I'll still be pissed. And I think today it's a lot more focused on making metal a more mainstream kind of a popular thing, which is great because it has great success. You see, these big stadiums being filled by bands, that like Behemoth, they weren't filling stadiums when they started, but they've worked their way up there through sticking with it. And now you have, the different metal bands that are out there doing screaming and this and that. It's almost like sometimes I think today some bands are like chasing a sound as opposed to being into it, when I wrote Serial Killer, it was like, you can't write lyrics about serial killer unless you're thinking like one, and being, that kind of going where, no man wants to go, you know, with your lyrics and your attitude and everything. And I think I think a lot of that's missing these days.
Come quietly to the camp. You're the nice as a dusty lamp. Don't worry, it's only a shower. From your clothes, here's a pretty flower. Die gonna get a poison gas. Something takes already hash. You're a crooked little clown. When you mess with President Brown. When you mess with President Brown. California, human rights. California, human rights.
Okay. So you still like more the old albums, like as you said, you know, Slayer, Metallica, and all these old recordings or old albums of the old bands, or you like some new stuff as well? And if yes, then what it is?
Well, I like the old stuff. I like Bonded by Blood, and I like the old Celtic Frost. I started on that, and I love Venom, and there's nothing better than Countess Bathory or At War with Satan. Those are great songs. That's what I love about And today I like Behemoth, and I'm really into them. I really dig the sound they have, and the guitar riffs are just amazing. And they come off as like this big, powerful machine. I dig that about them.
Okay.
And they're not, they seem to get better as they every record. They get better at their writing, and so I really enjoy that. But as far as metal bands today, I don't really listen to a whole lot. I like I said, I like a lot of different kinds of music. So dark wave and like that.
Okay. And which album of VIO-LENCE you like the most, and why? Like from the old era, maybe. Let's not talk now about the new EP, but the old albums. I mean, which one you like the most?
I like when we play live, I love playing the Eternal Nightmare songs. They're fast and spitting a lot of words, and they're really aggressive. The crowds just go crazy. It's like the riffs are. It's funny because when we play live and we play with other big bands, headliners or whatever, and there's like a cool vibe coming off the stage, but it's like when we play, it's like the music, the lyrics, the vocals and the music, that combination just drives people crazy. Where you're not supposed to be stage diving, people are stage diving, and the club's like, yeah, just let it happen, whatever. We're normally like, shut that down right now, but for VIO-LENCE, when we play, it just seems to put this energy in the crowd. And so those songs from Eternal Nightmare, I love to play those because there's some great riffs in there, and it's really aggressive. And I mean, I like a lot of Oppressing the Masses too, but Eternal Nightmare, playing those songs is a big deal for me.
Okay. And what about the reunion? I mean, the last one from 2019. What would you tell us about it, or how do you feel about it? When
when I was after my surgery, I was laying there in the hospital thinking I got to repay these people because they had a golf tournament that fell through, and then the Killian on Command show where all those dudes got up on stage and played violent songs, so after all that, and I got better, I recovered, not fully, but I was close. And I was just like, well, I need to get on stage, and repay these people. So I just felt like I had to repay all those people, all the people that came and supported me and stuff when I was sick. And Phil was at a Machine Head when I sent him a text saying, hey, let's do a show, and I was just kind of planning on doing a weekend, but then next thing you know, we got people calling us, wanting us to play this festival or this area, and so 2019 was a good year for us. We got to get out there and play a few shows with some different areas, like San Juan, Puerto Rico. We never played there before, and they called us and took care of everything to get us out there to play. And a lot of the promoters that have contacted us that year were like fans of the band, It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna make a bunch of money and bring violence and sell out maybe because they haven't been around in a long time. No, they were like all fans, like, will you play in my club? And here's what we'll pay you, and we'll take care of flights. And so, just the reunion show itself, me trying to repay the people that helped me, turned into us going out and doing shows for fans. And there's nothing better than that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and so I've read that you were hospitalized with COVID-19, right? So are you okay now, and how was the experience? And I know that you're not vaccinated. I'm also not vaccinated. So there were some emotions about it. I saw that on your Facebook page. So how do you feel now about that? Are you okay?
Yeah, so I went through the COVID. I mean, I got it from someone that was vaccinated, which is kind of weird. So, but anyway, yeah. So just and like I said, with my surgery for my liver transplant, I've been through hell and back, and so getting COVID was like okay. And I had it for a couple of weeks and was feeling sore and crappy. And the third week, I was started feeling it like creep into down my throat into my lungs. So as soon as I felt that, I went into the hospital. Yeah, they gave me remdesivir or whatever it is and antibiotics, and in about 4 days after being there I was able to breathe on my own. So I think what it was is that recognizing, because I know my body, because I've been through so much, surgeries and everything, that it's like, oh yeah, something's creeping in here, I better go to the hospital. And on top of that, I'm taking immune suppressant drugs for my transplant, for my liver transplant. So I was sitting there going like, okay, I'm taking these immune suppressing drugs, and while something is attacking my immune system. And so then I went in, and while I was in there, some people talked some shit, whatever. I don't really, but it was just kind of like someone I knew really well for a long time. And it kind of, someone I've had to my house and fed them dinner and stuff like that. And it was just like, wow, I wasn't so much upset about their opinion. I really don't care what people's opinion are. I was more that it was a friend that I'd known for so long, shit. And then all these people piling on, and it was just like, so I felt I had to say something, and I still, I still feel the same way. I mean, I had the COVID, so now my immune system will recognize it, and, if it comes around again. So.
I think it's crazy because people just became enemies, even friends and, in the families and stuff like that. Isn't it crazy, because usually we should just be kind of connected in these hard days, hard times. But no, it's totally the opposite, worldwide.
I think the problem is, the propaganda, it works, that's why it's called propaganda. They use it, they're using it now with this Russia-Ukraine thing. And then that that propaganda is meant to divide people, and then it works. They wouldn't be used if it didn't work. So, and I think that's more the sad part, is that pitting folks against each other, because a lot of people, especially these days with the information society, no one's like truly researching. They just see headlines, and the headlines, it's like, they don't mean anything unless they're backed by facts. And then you get into, well, this is a fact, but is it a fact? And, people get confused. Next thing you know, they're after each other, which is kind of sad.
It's very hard to find out where the information comes from, because, the internet is just filled with all kinds of bullshit, so it's very, very hard nowadays.
It is. You got to be smart about it, right? You got to think clear.
You have to be educated, about how to be smart in this case, maybe.
Exactly. Because you can go to college and you could be educated, but that doesn't necessarily make you intelligent.
You hear the point.
Intelligent people go for me. Intelligent people get told something and they go, "Well, why?" They question why. I mean, they don't just accept what's being told to them.
Sure.